What is going on, everybody? It's Alex back to another video. Today, given the fact that TDN has not updated their draft order, we are doing a one-round mock draft for the week. Going to be updating it round 2, having more trades then because you know what? We're just going to have a straightforward draft, enjoy it, and let's have a good time. We have been able to watch some college football and be able to adjust our rankings and our draft board according to that. So let's kick it off. If you guys are new, of course, like, comment, subscribe. You know what to do. And let's get into it. Starting off with the number 1 pick, the Texans. Honestly, yeah, they're probably not going to end up here if the Jaguars continue to look as abysmal as they do, which would be quite funny if the Jaguars are back-to-back number 1 overall. But regardless, I mean, there's no reason to be overreaction Monday. There are a couple people I would consider here. Evan Neal, because you can have possibly the best offensive line duo in terms of tackles, because I know you got Marcus Cannon right now, but you know he's old. I would consider Evan Neal right here for sure. KT is going to offer that big edge presence, which I think you guys traded for Lawson and then traded him away. So I think KT would probably be the right move. He is dominant. He is literally the star of the show, according to the Ohio State versus Oregon game. Literally every single time the camera was not on the field, it was on him. So we're going to go with the superstar himself. He is so good. He's such a talented player. Big fan of KT. Number 2, we got the Lions. And yeah, they probably could use a quarterback, but I'm going to hold off a little bit. I'm probably going to go a quarterback anyways. But, you know, Jared Goff didn't look awful, right? You know, they were down, I believe, 42-17 with 2 minutes left in the game. They came back and had a couple late scores, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, Colin Cowherd could get that wrong. But I think this would be a good spot to try to get someone like Derek Stingley in there. You know, Jeff Okudah, I think he had another injury, might be a season long. So there's a big issue with that. Kyle Hamilton is another really big potential addition right here. I think Derek Stingley would be a good option. I'm actually going to be going with I believe it was Joe Marino, took Kyle Hamilton number 2 overall. I think he is a game wrecker. I would take Evan Neal here if they did not have arguably the best tackle duo in the NFL right now or for the future. Kyle Hamilton, beast. I love him. He did a great job versus FSU. He just showed why he's supposed to be a top 5, top 3 pick. He can change a game just by himself, and it doesn't matter really it does matter what he does for the rest of the season, but that highlight right there, we're going to talk about Drake Jackson being the first round. Kyle Hamilton, with Drake Jackson's high-end play, Kyle Hamilton deserves to be top 2 if we're just going to look at high-end play. And he deservedly belongs in this category. He can be one of those game-changing safeties. Number 3, we got the Bengals, and is sticking to the normal draft board. Evan Neal right here. Best talent, in my opinion, in the draft class. Unbelievable talent. Joe Burrow got sacked 5 times. Desperate need for the Bengals, so definitely stick to it. At this spot, I still think Derek Stingley would be a really good option here. The top of the board is really not that fun, so that's why we're just burning through it right now. Derek Stingley is he's just an absolute animal. So, you know, there are lapses in his play, but you know what? I think Saul is the perfect guy to be able to adjust that if Stingley's having one of those off days. And, you know, we've seen the high-end play. He can be locked down, and he's a great player. He's a great player. Number 5, we got the Jaguars here. And yes, all the quarterbacks are still on the board. I think this is a great spot for DeMarvin Leal. So literally sticking to the board, if I'm not mistaken, of what's his name? Of Joe Marino, which I just didn't mock the mock on. You guys should look at that. But I actually didn't like the mock draft. The problem was what happened after. At this pick, though, dude, Jalen Hurts is actually not looking shabby at all. He has another couple years after this year on his contract. This might be a good spot to target something else, like maybe offensive line, like an offensive guard, or we could look at edge. You know, edge is definitely something I would be considering here. Quarterback, again, we could go Spencer Rattler. It's hard for me to do that because, again, I don't think Jalen Hurts is the long-term answer. I just don't know if Spencer Rattler is either. That's the big issue. Is like, am I going to bring in Spencer Rattler and just totally change everything that's going on in my room, in my draft room right now? And honestly, at this pick, this might be a good spot to trade back. And you know what? We could introduce trades here. We're going to try to limit it as much as possible. There's Spencer Rattler on the board, and there is a team with 2 first-round picks that would love to move in the position that can't. I just realized that I hate the fact that they're in division because I was like, dude, this is a perfect spot for the Giants to just hop up and be like, yes, sir. But of course, there's another team that I was looking at. Washington would be a perfect spot. There are teams that could potentially try to move into this spot. It's a little bit hard to think of anybody who'd be worth this pick right now. That's the only issue is that the quarterbacks are the only ones worth the picks. And the Eagles could definitely just pick it up, and I might just go with that right now anyways. But, Sam Darnold will probably be the starter next year for the Panthers. Derek Carr, with how he played against the Ravens last night, definitely could do that as well. There's a lot to like here, but, man, it's a tough one for me to say that any of these teams are going to be willing to move up because it's a very high price tag for a team like the Vikings to move up because they did this last year as well. Again, the Steelers. There's just I think this is a good spot for us to, you know what, we're going to do it. Spencer Rattler is going to sit. He's going to wait. Nobody was willing to bid on the pick. You go with the best player available. Spencer Rattler, you could, of course, trade him after the fact. That sounds crazy, but it is possible. There are guys that you can be getting in your draft and after the draft process using talents like Spencer Rattler, who also does need some time to sit. So if you don't think Jalen Hurts is the answer, in which we're not going to have an overreaction Monday and say he is the franchise guy, there you go. Next, we got number 7, which is a team that I was thinking about making a one-pick swap right here because Matt Ryan does not look good at all. This team is bereft of talent, okay? It's a bit embarrassing, to be honest. People were trying to hype them up, and I have never really been a fan of the Falcons. I think they do have a lot of potential, but, I think people need to chill when it comes to looking at this. They just lost their best weapon, hands down, and they put Calvin Ridley as their number 1. No disrespect to Calvin Ridley, but he's been, like Juju, a really amazing number 1 production at the number 2 spot. And I'm sure that he can do a lot better than Juju at that number 1 spot. Regardless, I think that the real issue right now is the fact that, A, they couldn't put up any yards against the Eagles, but B, their defense sucks. There's only a few guys here that I'd be willing to take. Chris Olave, no, I don't like his drop issue. I think the biggest impact potentially would be going towards this defense. I love Kyer Elam, be leaps and bounds above everybody. I think he's worth this pick as well. So he is a high-end corner, somebody where he's very similar to Derek Stingley in terms of how he can take over and just totally shut down one side of the field. There's a lot of potential there. Kyer Elam. Number 8, we got the Raiders here. And the Raiders, man, I honestly don't think that this is a good spot for them to draft. This would be a good spot to trade back. You do have Sam Howell on the board. There are teams that would be looking for a quarterback like Sam Howell. Even you could talk about Malik Willis here. People are trying to TFF put him as their number 1 guy in the draft. And honestly, there is a team that is willing to trade up with the Raiders, and we're gonna feel this one out. I'm seeing how the Steelers would react to a trade like this. I know Matt Corral is actually a really good option, but I just want to see how expensive this pick is going to be because I feel like the Raiders are definitely going to be in rebuild mode. So I'm going to see how a 1, a 3, and then maybe a next year 2 could do to try to just squeeze some value out because I think the Steelers need to keep their first rounders. And I think the Raiders are more of a team that could probably be okay with giving up a little bit of value to be able to have more quantity than quality, and they accept it. So the Steelers are moving up to select Malik Willis here over Sam Howell, who had a 94 PFF grade game, and he's great. He's a really good quarterback, but Malik Willis definitely has that potential groundbreaking style. I love Matt Corral, but it just feels right to just go after Malik Willis. This pick, I'm going Sam Howell right here for the Giants. Again, somebody who's very hot and cold. We're sticking to it. Continuing, I think this team desperately needs a tackle. And there's not really anybody worth this pick. Sean Ryan desperately needs to be higher on the list. And he's somebody who I'd even consider at this spot. Jackson Kirkland got dominated this last weekend. It was not good. Just to let you guys know. I still think there's some really good weapons on the board. You still got Andrew Booth here. You still have Ahmad Gardner on the board. You still have another quarterback on the board with Matt Corral. Don't think teams are going to trade up for Matt Corral right here. But there are still some very high-end corners on the board. There are teams that desperately need a corner. I'm having the just kidding. I'm having the Cardinals trade up very slightly with the Panthers to be able to select a high-end corner prospect. only giving up probably a 5th round pick. It's really not that big of a deal. 5th round pick to be able to move up a couple of spots, to be able to select a corner in Ahmad Sauce Gardner. You guys might say they should have just stayed at that pick. The spot was open, and the best value guys right now are these DBs. Again, this is a very top-heavy draft in terms of defensive back talent. There are some pretty solid guys down the line. Even Tywan Mullen down here, he's pretty damn good. But the talent at the top is supreme, and I think that is something that we really need to focus on. At this spot, this is Tyler Linderbaum. You guys know where I'm going with that. I love Tyler Linderbaum. No offense to Nick Gates. Tyler Linderbaum, the offensive line needs help. And Tyler Linderbaum is a top 10 prospect for me, somebody who I would extremely consider at that spot. At this spot, though, if we're going to talk about guys who can play offensive guard or tackle, we might as well talk about Kenyon Green over Jackson Kirkland at this moment. But we could look at some other positions as well. There's just not really much this team needs besides a quarterback. And it's like, I can't really give them anything except maybe a Jackson Kirkland. They do like those mobile guys who have a pretty shit anchor. I think that Jackson Kirkland might be the right spot. But if you did look at the PFF grades, the problem was the guards. Kenyon Green is going to be the option here. I know they got Brown from Alabama last year, but it's like a later 5th round pick, right? So Kenyon Green has the potential to start a tackle because he's been doing that at right tackle this year, even though I still think he can play left. And he has excellent pedigree at guard. Big fan of Kenyon Green right there. Number 13, Washington needs a quarterback. Matt Corral does not get past here. Carson Strong certainly on the list to be selected, but Matt Corral is somebody who's fun, electric, and he's been lighting it up. The problem, again, is consistency. At this spot, I would consider going a quarterback here. I just can't, though. You really do need a weapon. You traded back, and it's one of these top 3 guys. I think that given the position right near the Vikings right here, you also are in a division with a lot of speed, and your corner core is crap. Get Andrew Booth in there. Get somebody who's good. I know they're not going to do that, but maybe Trent McDuffie might be their option at that spot. Still, get a corner. Andrew Booth's going to be my selection right there. Number 15, you got the Vikings, who I don't know how the hell they're not doing their thing. I really don't know how they just – I mean, they did a good comeback against the Bengals, but, like, man, I was honestly surprised when they were getting beaten up by the Bengals. This spot very well might go to an edge prospect, and I am against going edge for the Vikings in the 1st round. It's a very big possibility here. Christian Harris is another one where I think that would be a really nasty duo right there. Jordan Battle is a safety that people aren't talking about enough. Very high-end player all around. I think he's a perfect fit on this defense. I'm actually going to be taking him here. 2nd safety off the board. Again, Brandon Joseph, he's not the same as he was last year. I am the biggest Brandon Joseph fan in the world. You guys know that. It's not right. At 16, I think Teddy Bridgewater is a perfectly fine quarterback to not reach on a quarterback here. I really do. I think he's spectacular. That right tackle spot could be using a little bit of help since you don't have Jawan James there at all anymore. The offensive line is solid enough. I just think that it could use a little more help. Corner is an underrated issue on this team because, again, you got 2 guys on contract for a year. I think that they can come back, especially if you do put up a solid season like this, given the fact that you didn't even know who the quarterback was in the 1st week. I think Jackson Kirkland is a guy who is talented enough. I mean, I would look at linebacker here as well to Christian Harris. It's a toss-up right there. I think offensive line is the most impactful position. Jackson Kirkland can play guard or tackle at an extremely high level, very athletic, somebody who I like a lot, just doesn't deal that well with power. Looking in the division, that might be a little bit of an issue. However, I think Jackson Kirkland could definitely learn from somebody on the team like Garrett Bowles. It's a really good value pick right there. There's nothing wrong with going a high-end to tackle at that spot. And, again, that athleticism is undeniable. He could have just had a pretty bad lapse right there. Number 17, you got the Chargers. And the Chargers, you guys are going to go crazy about this. I'm going Aiden Hutchinson here. A really big beast. I'm thinking about going Adam Anderson at the same time, but Aiden Hutchinson he's taken another step farther than I could have ever imagined. So I think that we have to reward him. I would look at a guard spot right here for sure. You look at a guy like Akeem Ekwonu, Darian Kennard. I think that Aiden Hutchinson has proven enough to me, and you guys know me. I didn't like Aiden Hutchinson I saw how he progressed, and it is a thing to make me smile about. It's like Kwity Paye last year took a big step. Aiden Hutchinson doing the same thing. I love it. Number 18, has to be a wide receiver pick. Garrett Wilson on the board. You take him all day long. Chris Olave, another really good option. I just think Mac Jones does better with the guys after the catch. So cool. I mean, it really just pick your poison here. They're really both amazing wide receivers. Speaking of a team that needs a wide receiver, you got Chris Olave right there. Light it up. The Eagles, they have excellent edge depth. I do not know why the hell they have that there. I know they got some dudes coming up on contract. Safety is a big issue. I look at Brandon Joseph here, and honestly, I think that it's worth taking a shot on the potential that he fails. I really do. However, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be going Trent McDuffie here because I think Steven Nelson is an excellent version of what Trent McDuffie should be. And Steven Nelson's absolutely awesome. 1-year contract. I cannot confirm or deny whether he's going to stay. Therefore, take the surefire bet. Trent McDuffie is an excellent fit. I love it. Number 21, you got the Cowboys. And the Cowboys, this is a good spot. Again, I think I might stick to the Adam Anderson pick here. I'm going to do it. All right. Adam Anderson, I think he's a perfect fit for the squad right now. Let's stick to it right now. And again, he's lighting it up. Big fan. Jets, we are going Christian Harris. Really lethal linebacker out of Alabama, taking a big step up. Another guy who might be featured very soon is Henry TOTO. This pick, since Carson Wentz is going to be playing the whole year, will be going to the Eagles. So we're going to be offering that for a 6th-round pick, and we'll just do that. We're doing 1-round mock. Unfortunately, maybe fortunately, Carson Wentz will be there. So I think it's fair for us to say, hey, this is going to be an Eagles pick. This is where we're going Brandon Joseph to potentially go back to his old form and be extremely lethal on this team. Cannot disrespect him too much right there. 24, we got the Titans. Titans, you need edge help like it's no tomorrow. You guys have spent a lot of money on it, and it's not working. Nick Bonito could be your shot. Nick Bonito is a stud. He's lethal. He's deadly. Do not fight me on that. He's really damn good. And we're just going to leave it there. Kingsley is possibly another option for me right here for the Browns. I would honestly look at Henry TOTO. Brandon Smith actually apparently had a really good game as well. I'm going to be going Henry right here. Extremely athletic coming out of Tennessee and going to Alabama. I just really like the potential of both of those Alabama linebackers. I thought Henry's a little bit better than Christian Harris. I think he's a little more ready, but that doesn't mean anything, okay? Because both these guys have unbelievable ceilings. I love both of them so much. Number 26, we got the Dolphins. Dolphins, this is going to be a good spot for us to get somebody like Kingsley and Egbert. It's somebody with a lot more potential than promise right now. So just take a shot on him. Definitely can continue developing that team. Offensive line was certainly something I was thinking about. But again, Sean Ryan's the only guy I can see, and he's going to be the pick right here. Really good in the run game. And he could be on that next level. Charles Cross isn't going to be in the first round at all. I think I dropped him probably to a 3rd at this point. Sean Ryan, he definitely is deserving of being in the spot. Really, really good talent out of UCLA. But yeah, Kingsley, somebody very high-end talent right there. Number 28, you got the Packers. And the Packers, y'all need everything, to be honest. It kind of sucks, but we're going to go Treylon Burks here. You do have slot weapons there, but I think he can translate to the outside. You could honestly even use him as a joker tight end role when you're trying to find out how to use him. I don't know. Really good, really large body receiver. Hasn't been performing as well as I wanted him to. Unfortunate, but that's the problem with doing way too early stuff, is that we're projecting how they'll develop, and we don't know how they'll develop. The Bills, man, I mean, the poor Bills, I just don't even know where to go with these guys. I look at corner, and I think that's where I'm going to go. Mikhail Wright actually did a really good job in his game against Oregon. Even though he got toasted a couple times, he sticks to the hip really well. Sticking with my Darian Kendrick pick, though, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth that pick. Very high-end corner, lots of potential. Again, personality issues. At number 30, this is a fun one. This is a good spot right here to potentially trade out. Brandon Smith's here, and I honestly might go that route. Brandon Smith could be a really good addition to this team. I just don't like Drake Jackson. That's my bottom line. It's not like I have a personal vendetta against him, but it's still undeniable that we need to just hold the horses on Drake Jackson. I'm going to honestly go Brandon Smith here, though. Brandon Smith out of Penn State. I don't know too much about him, I'm going to be honest. It's just he is extremely highly rated around. And I have seen flashes of him on tape. I just haven't done a deep tape study deep dive. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But again, I'm not going to make claims that I actually know this guy through and through. Don't yet. I do know the 95% of the rest of these dudes, just not Brandon Smith. Next, 31, you got the Bucks. The Buccaneers, this is a perfect spot for Jordan Davis. I love the fact that Jordan Davis has been moving up into these first-round styles. It's just when I saw him at 8 overall, I was so pissed off. They do need to fill that vacancy probably because, again, Dominican Sue can't last forever. That's a good spot for him. And this last pick, man, I just really want to get Jalen Catalon in this first round, but I won't. It really sucks. We're not going to be going with an edge here because I don't think that's the way that they'd rock. They could go wide receiver for a third one. You know, you look at a guy like Jahan Dotson as another really deep threat. Don't really like any of that. Drake London is here, and I think he's an excellent addition to this team. Really good after the catch. Big fan of his potential, and that is going to be the mock. Honestly, I did like how it just ended up being a little bit different than how we've done it so far. So let me know what you guys think. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the far side. Peace.